Okay, while we're just waiting for the neutral monsters to respawn, one thing that you can do with Pantheon if you start bottom side is you can come down into this little bush here in the topside river, and as soon as the game starts when champions select, tell your team like 155 late invade and spam ping this bush. And when it gets to 1 minute 55, come up and they'll be starting Gromp and they'll be busy leashing and fighting Gromp and they'll be low. And you can start stun on Pantheon, stun them, and usually you'll get a kill or at least a flash, and then you'll be able to steal the Gromp as well. Like, if you don't kill them, you'll be able to steal the Gromp and their blue buff. They'll be too low to fight. It's a really safe and not commonly used invade method, and it usually works out really well. Most of the time you'll get a very good benefit out of it. That's just something you can do on Pantheon, on bottom side as standard. It's very specific to that. Right. While this is happening, instead of just like standing still, watching them up or whatever, you can just press tab and see if anyone's shown up. And that gives you like knowledge of where people are, what items they've started and everything. When you're clearing on Pantheon, if you have your passive up, try not to use spells. Just wait till your passive goes down. Because every spell and auto attack charges up your passive, so you don't want to be blowing your cooldowns when you have your passive up. You want to use them to stack up your passive as quickly as possible so you take less damage. That means you don't have to use as many health pots, so you save gold effectively. Like, you're not spending the gold on health pots, you're using it on items. As well as being healthy enough to possibly go gank.
First blood.
While you're clearing, you should be looking around the map too. Like, there's a lot of time you spend just auto-attacking. You don't need to be staring at your screen to do that. You can check out what's going on. So like, while these kills are happening, you should be like instantly looking at your map, looking at where they are, and that just gives you information like possibly you could go get a cleanup or you couldn't get a cleanup kill. You know if people have to back, if you have to go hold the lane or whatever, like depending on where the minions are. That stuff's very important. It gives you a lot of opportunities and a lot of knowledge of what you can do. Jungling's all about recognizing possible opportunities, and the more knowledge you can get of what's happening on the map, the more you can get. So like right now you could be looking top lane and seeing what's happening top lane. You could be seeing if, pressing tab, seeing if their jungler's shown up. Because you could possibly counter gank mid since she's pushed up. It's like right now you're walking top lane, but you don't know like what health's up. The Nasus is full health. I wouldn't stun instantly, so okay, I'll go back. Okay, so when you do this, what you want to do is you want to make your path like this angle here. So what that does is when Nasus sees you, he's going to try to run like away as fast as possible. He'll either run like that or he'll run up into the bushes and try to kite along. This path, by the time you get to here, if he's run up, you can choose to go like straight up and cut him off, but you don't want to come in at his side. If you come in at his side, he'll just be able to run. You want to be behind him. You want to come in behind him, throw a spear, auto attack, and while you're doing that, each time you auto attack, take a step back towards the path that he's running. So if he runs here, you want to click back here as well. And then when he eventually, if he withers you and that you want to save your stun as a gap closer. So when he gets away and you can no longer auto attack him, you want to then stun, and as soon as you stun, auto attack is your movement command, and that keeps you. It will lead up to like eventually getting in an extra auto attack or something, or closing the distance. That could end up in a kill or a flash blown. It's very important. It's a very small thing to do, but it has big results. So yeah, so he gets away. If you came in, you would have been able to kill him and get his ghost. That would lead up to repeat ganks. Another thing, when you walked up the river, there was a ward in that little river bush because your Wraith buff activated. So you would just want to ping out that to your team in case your Annie wanted to roam up or something. It doesn't matter much in that situation since it's a trinket ward and it'll be out. But if it was like a normal ward or possibly a pink ward, check if it's a pink ward. But yeah, you just want to notify your team of where wards are. We'll go back.
Immediately.
Alright. This is fine going into the jungle because Nasus is low, but it is sort of risky since if Nasus collapses, actually no, it's not fine because Annie's at base. So LeBlanc can come up, Nasus can come up, even if he doesn't get in range of you, like he could wither you and that would win the fight for her. Like generally if Annie was there and she could follow LeBlanc, that would be fine because Aurelia could collapse and everyone could collapse. And you can 1v1 Vi's Pantheon because his passive is really, really strong early. In that case that you can 1v1 her, you don't want to use your stun right away. You want to use it for her when she tries to use her Q either on you or to run away. You can stun her and that will cancel it. And that's a lot of either gap closers she can no longer use or damage she no longer has. And you'll win the fight automatically off that. However, in this situation, I was wrong before by saying it's okay. You shouldn't be in the jungle because mid laner can just run up and kill you. And same with the Nasus. So we'll see what happens. It's like right now, her Q, you could have just stunned her and cancelled it. Nasus comes. Running to Aurelia is good. Yep, that's nice. So, okay. What you wanted to do, because LeBlanc was in that pit, is you stood like right here. You should have walked up to about here. And tried to keep walking up here. Because Nasus isn't going to run down. Nasus isn't going to run down here to try to escape. He's going to run up to his tower to try to escape. So if you position yourself along this wall and run up, you'll still be able to attack him and you'll be out of range of LeBlanc's poke. And obviously you would have lived from that. I don't think she needed to flash, she could have chased for Q. While this is happening, you could be looking bot lane and mid lane, seeing what's going on there.
My spear is restless.
Like right now you're looking top lane, it's just Aurelia CSing, but you could be looking bot lane where there's actual fight. You could be seeing if they're low,
Let us press on.
overextended or whatever's going on. That could be a possible gank. Ganking bot lane can be really strong. When you do get a successful gank off, it can change the tides of a game very quickly. So like again, as you're watching all this happening, you could be checking out what's happening in other lanes. Alright, nice. Now, after killing their ADC, your team, like, they took no damage. And then Aurelia just killed Nasus too. Instead of going to Grom, you could just spam ping Baron. Oh, Dragon, sorry. If LeBlanc walked down, like, you guys would win a fight. That's a Swain support, he won't be able to do anything. And you have Pantheon, Pantheon's stronger than Vi, and he has more utility than LeBlanc, so you guys would definitely win a fight if they try to stop it, and if not, you get a relatively free dragon. Also, in this situation, if you did call for a dragon, there wouldn't be the situation where LeBlanc would solo kill Annie. So, when you counter jungle, you want to leave a small minion. If it's a buff, you want to kill it all to get the timers of it. That can help you track their jungler. But other than that, if it's like the wolf camp and that, just leave a small minion so it doesn't respawn. And that's how Vi will get behind. If she doesn't happen to come down this side of the map before it respawns, that counter jungling won't set her behind at all. Because she's not even there to miss the camp. With these scuttle minions, if you stun them or knock them up, their armor goes, and magic resist goes from 60 to 10 permanently until it respawns. So as soon as you see it, like, auto attack stun, and you'll kill it a lot quicker because its armor will be significantly lower.
An ally has been slain.
Immediately.
Right.
Enemy killing spree.
Since you bought 2 wards there, which is good, like wards are really good, you should sell your trinket and switch out to a sweeper, or on Pantheon you can get the what's it called? The blue trinket. You can use that, the blue trinket, just before you ult to make sure the situation's safe to ult into. Like if you're ulting to catch someone who's ran up here, like say Vayne's low and she's ran up and she's running to a T2 tower, you could blue trinket the middle of the lane and see where she is before you drop in.
They will know war.
Your turret has been destroyed.
So right now, you shouldn't be running out. You should be waiting for Leona to catch up. So just stand in that tri-bush for a little bit, but she should get in range with your stun. Okay, so as soon as Swain flashes, you can no longer go in on Swain, but because like Leona can't follow up, you can get on Swain, but you can't get follow up from Leona. So you want to immediately go onto Vayne. Swain will no longer be in range to actually do anything because he's just flashed away, and then you've gone and walked the opposite direction. Leona will be able to stun Vayne, you'll be able to stun Vayne, and with your damage and Leona's passive procs, she'll be a free kill.
Double kill.
Onward.
An ally has been slain.
Their fate.
So when it comes to second blue buffs, generally what I do is I check if my mid laner's like not dying. They don't have to be ahead, but they just have to be not dying. If they're not dying much, I would give them the blue buff. If they are dying, even if they're winning, but they're dying, I wouldn't give it over to them, because likely they're going to feed it over at some point, either to their jungler or the mid laner.
An enemy is unstoppable.
With the Pantheon combo, you can throw your spear and stun at the same time. So you want to be like, as you're going to land, just spamming Q, tap, 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 spamming it on Nasus. Then as soon as you hear the sound for it to throw, tap W, and your spear and your stun will hit simultaneously. That'll get your spear on like a half-second low cooldown, and that could eventually turn into a kill. The whole theory of like climbing is doing lots and lots of these little things that will eventually lead into little advantages that you can snowball into wins. Over like 100 games, it might only give you 5 more wins, but that's 5 wins that you didn't have. That's a 55% win rate compared to a 50% win rate. And as you climb up, you verse harder people, and then you get better practice, and then you improve more. Therefore climbing even more. That flash was like completely wasted. You're not going to catch that LeBlanc. Even though she is a free kill, if you get anything on her, an auto attack or a Q, she's way too mobile for you. Even if you have mobility boots, you wouldn't catch her. So that was just wasted. And right now you could be using that flash to kill Vi. When you stun, again like Q stun, and then auto. If you weave in auto attacks with Pantheon, you get both like your spell weaving and your blade weaving stacks up. And with the passive on his E, critting under 15%, she'll be dead. You get her anyway, but like usually like use spells and weave in your auto attacks. And that will lead to a lot more kills. Alright, that was really good stunning her, so Leona can come save you.
I know my path.
Alright, so you're sort of running back too far, like I know it's just a couple of seconds, but a couple of seconds here and there can lead up to like a minute on the map where you could be farming. Or you might miss getting to a situation that could turn like the enemy team getting a double kill into your team getting a triple kill on Dragon.
Honor compels me.
I don't agree with this buy. It looks like you're going for Banshee's Veil or Locket of the Iron Solari, but that's like Pantheon's an early game duelist, and since you're not like behind, you're ahead in kills. You sort of have to carry your team from this point, since you do have the kills, and your team's behind. They're not gonna win without you. So Pantheon does really well with damage. So you should be working towards another brutalizer. If they had double AP, like a Fiddlesticks jungler and a LeBlanc mid, like yeah, they have Swain, but he's not gonna do much magic damage really. Unless he goes full AP, which then he'll be basically a really underfed mid laner, so he's not really a threat. Tell your Leona to get Locket of the Iron Solari. That'll give your whole team a little bit of magic resist to deal with that. You should be going Brutalizer, then Last Whisper. That lets Pantheon's damage sort of scale into late game, like he does fall off a bit late game, but not too much if you get a lot of armor pen. And then you can turn it into either a Ghost Blade later or a Black Cleaver, most likely a Black Cleaver for the armor shred, which will do really well against Nasus as well.
Do not.
So right now you could just farm those wraiths. You have Vision of Dragon. I don't agree with starting this dragon. It's completely blind. You don't know where Vi is, and you're in a position to get collapsed upon. and your team's not even ahead. So this is going to go really bad. I can tell just from looking at it that it is going to go really bad. So right now you should be just recalling so you can get back to that dragon to at least ward them off it, potentially.
They will know more.
Your screen seems to be locked on yourself a lot. You should constantly be looking at other people. You don't want to be focused on your character or your mouse. You want to be focused on what the enemy's doing and what your team's doing. You want to like be able to subconsciously control your character and your mouse, always knowing where they are, without actually having to look at it, and that's really unfortunate. But again, like, you knew they were in the bottom side and you did have your trinket up, so that's definitely something they could have done. Most likely people would just take the buff and leave, but they decide to camp for you. So just walk in there, trinket it, instead of just walking up and blindly siding it. As well, like, again, in this situation, you're dead, you can be looking around the map, seeing what's going on, getting that information.
Let us press on.
So, right now I don't think going for mid is the right decision. I don't think you're going to get mid. What you want to do is probably drop your trinket on dragon in the river so you can see people running up and down the river and see if dragon's still there or not. Most likely they've taken it, or you could tab to see if they've taken dragon. And then just go farm your wraiths, wolves, gromp, blue. Instead now you've gone mid, 3 people's gone mid, you've all split the CS so no one's actually gotten any benefit out of it, you don't get the tower. And then you've walked down to here and gotten caught. That's actually a nice trade-off kill, but again, like, you did get 500 gold there, but you could have got 500 gold and more experience from farming the jungle. That's the sort of things why, like, KDA doesn't matter. Because yeah, you can get all this gold from kills, but if you, like I said, you could have got 500 gold plus more experience, so it's more beneficial to farm than to actually get that kill. And again, it baits your team into this fight that's going to go wrong.
Compels me.
So, like, obviously you can look at that situation and be like, oh, my team didn't have to follow up and I could have just got the kill, and traded 1 for 1. But, like, okay, so right there, anyway, I'll finish what I was saying. You could have said that, but, like, mentally, you should know that if you farmed, that situation never would have happened, and the enemy team never would have won the fight. Oh, so she runs back. Personally, as soon as I see her flash into here and start running towards you, I just would have cancelled my ult. It'll go on like a 7-second cooldown, I think, 6 or 7. And then you can use it to chase her down if she does get away. But yeah, since she was running towards you, I would have just ran up, spear stunned her, auto attack, and she'll be dead.
Immediately.
Right, yeah. One thing you really do need to work on, it'd be awkward at first, but you'll see the difference massively, is not having your camera locked on yourself so much.
Getting kicked into a well is the least of your worries. Getting into a well is the least of your worries.
Right now I wouldn't bother like fighting her over it. Aurelia does scale really well, she outscales you, so the gold's probably more useful on her than you. But yeah, I just would have started blue buff, and now she's going to be salty and get annoyed and try to take your jungle. So I just would have like, while she's doing that, you could just gone blue wolves mid,
Enemy has been slain.
or blue wolves top. Again, don't use your stun as a gap closer, like right there. Like one, Nasus isn't the target focus. Like, he's really tanky. Vi would be a lot easier to kill, so just spam ping Vi, and then when she starts charging up a Q, use her stun to cancel that. That'd be a lot of damage she loses, and you'll likely win the fight. On top of that, you're not itemized towards winning that fight. They're both physical damage dealers, and you have a Banshee's Veil, which is going to contribute nothing apart from the bit of health it gives you into that fight. Potentially, if you had a Brutalizer, and I think you'd have a Brutalizer pickaxe, you'd be a lot more set to win that fight if you guys focused down Vi.
I know my path. My spear is restless.
In this situation, just go farm wolves, Gromp. You don't want to go into your bottom side jungle because you know Vayne's there, and the enemy team can, like, well, Vayne can probably kill you if she gets condemned, and her team will follow up. Whereas topside jungle, free farm, free experience, and the enemy team doesn't have enough time to push in and take a tower. Right, so yeah, walking in blind like this, they have a Nasus and a Vayne. A lot of opportunities for them to like slow you and get a stun on you and just collapse. It was really a bad choice. So like, one thing to really adapt about your playstyle is focus more on like not dying rather than potentially getting kills, because potentially getting kills, it can go wrong and you can die, whereas if you choose the farming route, you're getting like the not dying route, you're definitely getting farm, you're definitely getting experience. So you shouldn't be charging at them straight up like that. Like, you don't have the damage to burst her. So you're basically going to stun her, and then by the time your damage actually gets there, she's already running away. And you've taken a lot of damage yourself. One thing, you're not really tabbing much to see what items they have, who's fed, who's farmed, and so on. Again, like, it looks like now you're going into a Brutalizer or Black Cleaver, judging by the health crystal. That's like, the flat armor penetration now isn't really going to do much. Since everyone's armor's scaled up, or Nasus has stacked armor, and so on. So, that's not really going to have an effect. Plus, like, by now you could have Brutalizer, Last Whisper. That'll have a really big effect, whereas you only have this item that really only helps against LeBlanc. So again, like, you're farming this, which is good, like this needed to be farmed, and now you can possibly go and solo dragon if it's up, because everyone's topside, but you should be looking top and seeing what the situation is. Because you could possibly start running up and change that whole situation to a bunch of kills for your team, and then you would be able to get Baron since it's topside, if it did go well.
I know my path.
Alright, yep, so doing dragon's fine. when you're soloing things like this, that's going to take a bit of time, you can smite it at the very start if you have 2 smite stacks, because you won't finish it in 15 seconds, and it'll speed it up by like 3 seconds. That could be the difference between getting caught out or not recalling fast enough, or not being able to recall and get to a situation time. See, if you smited it earlier, you would have been able to complete your recall and get out of this. Sorry, I'm getting a text message.
An ally has been slain. An ally has been slain.
So, okay. It's not showing up on the map, but like, this little area up here, like, on the map here, the little pathway to go into blue buff, that's where you should have ulted, because that's our only escape route. It doesn't matter, like, you don't have to land right on top of them, you just have to cut them off. So, if you landed there, you would be able to get LeBlanc, and then walk down and get Vayne, or Nasus. Chase Nasus, I mean. Yeah, placing it at the blue buff is either going to cut them off if they run up, or cut them off if they go into your jungle.
Immediately.
Alright, good. Auto attack. Nice, you saved your gap closer. Right now, it might like seem risky, but you just killed their jungler, you just killed Vayne and Swain's bot. You could spam ping Baron, and that would be a 5v2 at best. And that Baron would be like huge for your team. You could then start sieging, the enemy team would not be able to fight you. You'd be able to get T1 mid tower, T2 mid tower, control over the next Baron, ward up their jungle, possibly even get T2 bot tower, or T2 top tower. Depending on how quickly your team reacts, you'll be able to get a lot off it, but definitely the 2 mid towers and vision control in their jungle to set up for the next dragon.
Let us press
So like right now what you've done is you've taken blue, and then you've walked past all this time. You walked past Gromp, walked past walls, walked past Wraiths, just to get a red buff. When you could be feeding that red buff over to your ADC, it's sort of like you've walked past 20 minions that's dying to a tower. Just like, you're going to miss out on all that farm, and just to get red buff on someone who doesn't actually, like, someone else can get it and still have the same benefit out of it. When it comes to like taking lane CS, and there's a big like misconception with holding waves and shoving lanes out as a jungler, where a lot of pro players say that you want to like, you do want to hold waves and stop it from clashing into the tower and wasting CS, but what it is you want to make your team be having the most gold coming in simultaneously. So if there was like a wave down here and it's like 30 CS, but it's not hitting the tower, and then Teemo's like there and Teemo can get it, you don't need to farm that. You can be farming your jungle, because you'll farm the jungle quicker than Teemo will kill it, and Teemo will kill those quicker than that farm, quicker than you can kill it. So you'll be getting all the gold from the jungle, and Teemo will be getting all the gold from that. Just like in this situation, you could be getting all the golden experience from Grom Wolves Wraiths, while Teemo's getting the gold experience and the red buff. So that's like, you're like restricting yourself off gold and your team off buff. So like right now this collapse could be really good, but your screen shouldn't be on your champion. Your screen should be like in the middle of the wave. Like right now you have no idea what's going on. And then it's caused you, because you didn't have that information, it's caused you to make an awkward path around. And you should be focusing Nasus, because that's where your team is. The quicker they kill Nasus, the quicker they can chase down everyone else, and the less damage they take. But yeah. As I was saying before, not having vision caused you to waste all that time walking around when you could have just came in instantly. You wouldn't be that low, your team wouldn't be low, people wouldn't have died, and then you would win this fight, and then you would take 2 towers, or you could take Baron. The right call then after winning that fight would be to take Baron, because then you'll get the 2 towers as well. But that move right there could have completely changed. Like if you had information of mid lane with your screen being there and not walked around, you could have turned a losing game into a winning game straight up. Right, also Moby boots. Early game, Moby boots are really good to like constantly be ganking everywhere at once. Late game, like, it's more teamfight orientated and map control. Most of the time they're going to be cancelled. You want the raw stats from either Mercury Treads or Ninja Tab Eye. This game I'd probably go Mercury Treads because they've got Vayne Condemn, they've got LeBlanc Chains and slows, Swain slows and stuns, Nasus Wither, all that CC, as well as they have some magic resist so it will prevent you from getting blown up from LeBlanc and less damage from Swain. Now, it looks like you're going into a Frozen Heart or Randuin's with this. You should always build health before resists, because health works for physical damage, true damage, and magic damage, whereas that armor is only going to work against the physical damage. So, it's not going to affect LeBlanc, it's not going to affect Nasus, area of effect, what is it, Spitfire or something? It's not going to affect Swain, like it's not going to affect any of this. Whereas the health, it would work against everyone. Alright, right there you shouldn't have fought. You should have stunned her and then ran away. Because your team's not in a position to back up, they're all running down bot lane. So, yeah. You've now got this armor, but like, you could have a giant spell by now, and that would affect everyone. Oh, and you still don't have a sweeper. Sweepers are very, very important. So I just want to go back and see the tab screen. So yeah, what you can do, what I always do at the start of the game is like if you have a tank support, like if you're playing a champion that doesn't benefit from building Frozen Heart, like some champions do like Hecarim benefits, Sejuani benefits, just from the cooldown reduction. You can build it and you don't need to do this, but I always tell my supports to build Frozen Heart and Locket. of the Iron Solari. Supports do really well with auras, and I can go over that with you another time. Why supports work really well with auras. But yeah, if you're building a Frozen Heart, you shouldn't be building a Frozen Heart in Pantheon. You should be building a Ranger ones, and it would be more beneficial. One, your team needs a Locket and needs a Frozen Heart, and it'd be much more beneficial to be on Leona because, well, the reason why I'll go over it now while nothing's really happening. The reason why is because if they focus a support, you're most likely going to win the fight anyway. Supports don't need health because, like, they're not meant to be focused, so they just need to be tanky enough to take long to kill. But not tanky enough that they just like sit there face tanking the whole team. If they sit there face tanking the whole team, likely your team's going to clean up anyway. Like, it's not efficient to focus the support on a team fight, so they would have played the team fight really badly if they do focus the support and you'll win. If they don't focus the support, then the health is useless anyway. However, on a champion like a jungler, you want to range ones because they will be focusing you because you are a damage threat as well. And that the steal really wasn't worth it. You want to be alive. Like, first of all, starting the dragon was silly because no one's there with you. You don't have vision of anyone, but you know they're around this area. So it's like 90% chance going to go bad. Plus you don't have a sweeper to check it. Going in again, like, you're definitely going to die, and you might get the dragon. Whereas now, you don't get the dragon, you die, and they can get Baron and end. So, you want to be alive to contest Baron if they're up. Since you're most likely not going to get the dragon, and even if you do, it's not a worthy trade. If they do, then choose to go Baron, which would be the correct decision.
Killing spree.
As the death times get longer, I'm going to start skipping forward to when you are respawned, since there's not really, like, unless there is something that I can talk about, there's not real much point to me just starting at a grey screen. When you're leaving base, always try to have a health pot if you can. Because that effectively gives you like a ruby crystal worth of stats in a fight if you get to use the full duration of the health pot. So it's 35 gold to get 400 gold worth of stats every team fight. Think of it as like a really minor elixir. Again, like, you shouldn't be doing this red buff since your team's trying to siege. You should be with your team to either defend them or assist in the fights and assist in tower pushing. Like, Nasus, you can't really do much with him. Like, yeah, you could go bot to try to stop him, but he's just gonna tank you or taking the tower and then kill you afterwards, or you'll have to run away. If you got to your team, you could potentially save them in a fight. Nasus would either keep pushing, in which situation you would have to stop them, or you could then go and get Baron. If he recalled, you could then get Baron if you win the fight. So that's why it's not really much point going to try to stop Nasus, since you can't actually stop him. You need to join your team, and then they can stop him with you.
An enemy has been slain.
Consider it done.
Like, in these situations, like, trying to surrender, this game is definitely winnable. It's, like, very easily winnable. They're making a lot of mistakes that you can capitalize on.
I know my path.
You don't want to focus more, like, if you're surrendering and you're spamming surrender vote, you're not thinking about winning the game or thinking about what you're doing or what you need to do. You're just waiting for the surrender vote to come back up. And you're sitting there and you're getting frustrated at your team, like, right now. You're, like, getting mad because you can't win the game. Like, just don't even think about surrendering. Especially at this level, like if it was higher up, like Diamond or Challenger, you can tell when a game's over. You have a much better chance of telling when a game's over, and even if you could win that game, it's not because you do anything well, it's because your team does something stupid, and getting that elo is going to be useless because you don't deserve it anyway, so you'll end up losing it in the long run. This here, you definitely can make the right decisions to beat them. They are making mistakes that you can capitalize on. And there's definitely things that you can learn from winning this game. So that ult, like, again, it was misplaced and you didn't need to use it anyway. If you did need to use your ult, do it back further just to cut them off. You don't need to use it to get the kill, just to cut them off, but yeah, you could save that.
Your turret has been destroyed.
And like running in here, you can't stop them doing. You can sort of try to scare them and pretend that you're back up, but don't actually commit. Because if, like, they can kill you, you can't stop them. You being dead, like, especially like, one big thing about the jungler is if you're dead, your team doesn't have smite. Which leads to like, drags and barons being taken easily.
An ally has been slain.
So what you want to do, run at them, but don't actually go into attack range. They might back off because they think you're backup, but if they don't, you can't fight. Don't just stand there and do nothing, but sort of make yourself look like you could potentially be a threat. Like you know something they don't. Right there, you should like use all your damage on Vita, try to kill her before she kills your team. Like potentially, your Q&E would have killed her quick enough for Aurelia to survive. Then that's their jungler down, Nasus is bot side, you could then get Baron. Like as soon as you get Baron, you can completely change the tide of the game. You can get an inhibitor, which would then get your team back into the game. It would give you a lot of control. Effectively like about 5 minutes of control, 3 minutes with the Baron, and 2 minutes with like the inhibitor being down. After the Baron wears out. That's enough to get like more towers, more gold. The game's getting late, the later the game goes, the better the losing team, tongue-tied. The better chance the losing team has to then come back, because the gold percentage is a lot smaller, everyone's getting to max builds or their core items complete. So the less chance, like the less a lead actually benefits a team. Like this is really good going down and killing Nasus, but the enemy team could then go and get Baron, and then they'd win from it. So instead of like getting Baron, you've decided to go all the way down to bot, so everyone can just kill one person. This Dragon's a bad choice too, because they have LeBlanc, she could like W, then Alt W onto your whole team that groups up. If they do Dragon, and that would do a lot of AoE and your team would lose the fight, or you just get caught out like that and you lose the fight, and then they can take Dragon, Baron, and I know like, I do keep saying Baron a lot, but like realistically, there's a lot of opportunities to do Baron. Like people don't realize how many opportunities there are to do Baron outside of pro play. Like
Has been slain. Rampage.
Like, don't be standing and typing to your team. That makes your team stand and type to. This is all like farming gold. You could be getting, they could be getting, all because of that. And it's not a waste of time. There's definitely a lot of things you can do correctly here to learn from, and definitely potential to win the game.
I know my path.
Like, I can tell now, like, as the game's progressed, and you've started typing more, you're not thinking so much, like, you're taking awkward paths to farm camps, and you wander around a bit before choosing what you want to do. Like, don't... Just try to avoid, like, any arguments as much as possible, because that makes you then start, like, slowing down your decision making and everything. Right, focus fire, good. Good. See? And now you can do Baron, because they wouldn't be able to contest it. Alright, focus Nasa's like, you're not going to catch her, she's a LeBlanc with blue buff. She's got like a 4-second dash that does double the distance of a flash. However, see like, right now, you're confused on what to do. You do end up killing her, but that's because she's... Oh, well you don't even end up killing her. That's how difficult it is to chase her. Okay, so in this situation, like when he snares you, like he snares you here, what you want to do, instead of like running directly at him, is run up here. Because that way, he's got to run up here, you've got Moby boots, so you'll be able to run faster than him and you'll be able to like get up and catch him off around here before he gets into his base. Yeah, the best thing to do there, focus all down on Nasus, so Nasus does less damage to your team, and he dies quicker, then go and get Baron. Like, these are all things where like, you're spamming surrender votes, like you just want to fight and then you vote to surrender. You're not thinking on how to win this game, you're just thinking that you're wasting your time or anything. When I've already pointed out several times that there's a lot of opportunities to completely grab this game and take it into a win. Right. Like, counter jungling is, like, fine. Like, it does benefit you and gets them a bit behind, but, like, the later on the game goes, that counter jungling doesn't really affect anything. People are already high levels. They've already got their core items. Yeah, like, getting Baron control will be a lot more. And still, like, no sweeper. So right then, like, you counter jungled, and then you, like, sort of stood there, potentially trying to catch Swain, and you ended up dying. Just counter jungle, and get out. That comes into, like, the whole mindset of, instead of focusing and getting kills, focus on not dying. Whereas if you were focusing on it dying, you would recognize that that situation is a dangerous situation, however you're focusing on potentially getting a kill, which leads to a situation where you die.
Onward.
Again, like, blindly using your ultimate, that's a mistake. She opts to like stay, which is really silly. Like, yeah, here, you use your stun, you could use it to stop her gap closer, and then you'll be able to kill her. And again, in this situation, Nasus is bot lane, he can't join the fight. If you kill Vi, it's a 4v3 and you get Baron. Obviously, like, a lot of this would all change if Nasus had TP, but he doesn't. And in that situation, you would just have to, like, time his TP. And there would still be a lot of situations where you can Baron. But at this point, you just blindly need to know that Nasus is bot lane. Okay, there's no way he can join this fight, so you can get Baron. right there, you did the combo on Pantheon that I was talking about, where you throw your spear and you stun at the same time. And the importance of that is it gets your Q on a lower cooldown. Right there, like, don't do the Pantheon combo there. You want to weave in an auto attack. Q stun, auto attack. Don't just Q stun E, because then all you've got is auto attacks. Yeah, and again, like, blindly chasing people into this adopter mentality of dying as little as possible rather than potentially getting kills. It makes a big difference to how games go.
Your inhibitor has been destroyed.
So like, a major thing you could have done this game, like, you bought 2 wards early, which was really good, but you haven't bought any more wards since then. And Baron's been like unwarded all game. I think like Dragon's been on ward most of the game, and like this top side of their jungle hasn't like seen a single ward all game, I'm fairly sure. And I know definitely like Baron hasn't been warded all game. That's stuff that you can do since you're roaming around a lot. Your job is to move around, not push out waves, but to like farm camps and that and move and be in these areas. So you should be buying wards for that. As well, you haven't bought a pink ward all game. Like, I'm just putting this stuff out now since the game's basically over. Since you can see the video's nearly over. Getting an early pink ward and putting it like near your buffs. Like there's a little bush like near the crescent red buff here. I always put in that, like between the red buff and the dragon. And that sees like mid laners walking down, like roaming down, plus it sees if people are going into your jungle, and also it's a common place for enemies to ward, so we'll see any wards they put there. Like, one thing that I am pleased to see though, is that when it's all said and done, like, your items that you got are good. Like, right now, the only thing you need to change is get Mercury Treads instead of mobility boots, but you do know how to build Pantheon. Just the items you did it in were awkward and inefficient. And again, like, you're standing still while they're ending. Okay, so I'm going to upload this later and then send it to you. When you finish watching it, well, you would have been finished watching it now. Just message me with any questions you have or any follow-up information you need, and I'll be happy to provide that to you.